bring you more now. We speak to SANTACO Western Cape Chairperson Mandla Hermanus for more. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Hermanus. Welcome to the late edition. So, passenger safety takes center stage once again, but mostly also during this time of the year. Just how serious is this to SANTACO as an organization?
Thank you. We take this very seriously because what we have noticed is that sometimes there are these campaigns and they only happen during Easter or December holidays. So we're saying having once-off events is not going to change the behavior of our drivers. We need to be systemic, we need to be holistic when we look at these things, and we need to ensure that education happens throughout the year so that by the end of the year, at least we have sensitized our drivers, our operators, and our passengers to what needs to happen on our roads so that we can avoid situations where there are road fatalities.
And Mr. Hermanus, I think also just dealing with road carnage now becomes everyone's business. In a time where we've seen, some of your members actually being accused of just chasing profits and forgetting about the interests of passengers and just, running amok on the roads as well. What is it that you are doing on the front of making sure that you have SANTACO members that are equipped with, efficiently dealing, first of all, with passengers, but also with just effectively dealing and being proper on the road?
Yeah, the starting point for us has been to engage with the taxi operators, because most of the times the taxi driver is not the owner of that vehicle. And sometimes these drivers are under a lot of pressure from the owners of the vehicles to say, I want X amount of money and I want you to do X number of trips. So we have appealed to the operators to say, when we do these long distance trips, it's inhumane to expect that a driver would drive from the Eastern Cape, from the Western Cape to the Eastern Cape and come back and load another load again back to the Eastern Cape without having rested in between. So we're appealing to the operators to say, when your driver has done a return trip from the Western Cape to the Eastern Cape or any other province, please make sure that when that driver comes back, he is well rested. So we're saying let's introduce a rotational system where it does not mean that you will lose because your vehicle will still drive as much as you want it to drive, but at least let us alternate our drivers so that they are able to rest. And we're also appealing to our customers to say they also need to be on the lookout when they can sense that a driver is tired. They must plead with the driver to take a break. A 10-minute, 15-minute break goes a long way when you are embarking on these long-distance trips.
I want us to circle it back because you just spoke about the operators. You say that, most of the times they work under pressure from the owners. And I would assume that dealing with this particular problem would mean that you'd have to bring some of the owners as well to the discussion table to perhaps talk to them and see you cannot engage them so they find a way to navigate this and bring about better working conditions, particularly for taxi operators. Have you had moments where you've sat down with these owners and engaged them on this to say this is a serious matter that needs urgent attention?
Yes, we have been doing that. We have been engaging. I think we've had, in December alone, we have had 3 engagements with at general meetings where the taxi operators are present, where we are preaching this message to say we cannot abuse our drivers in the manner that we do during peak seasons, because we must also remember that now these drivers, for the whole year, they've been working from 5 a.m. until 7 p.m. in general. Suddenly now there is a change where they are working 24 hours. Their bodies are not used to it. Now to adapt to staying awake all night, it takes a toll on anyone in any event. So we are saying maybe one of the things that we will look at going forward is to actually say maybe we should regulate, especially during peak seasons. At what point do we allow our vehicles to depart from one province to another province? Because we also believe if most of this driving was happening during the day, we would see less fatigued drivers on our roads, because also the night driving contributes a lot towards our drivers being tired most of the time.
Mr. Hermanus, there's a need, and that need is to ensure that we curb this and nip this in the bud, particularly when we look at road carnage and also, lowering the number, because this time of the year, as you've also rightfully mentioned, we tend to see those accidents on the road really escalate. Don't you think now it is time for things to just move beyond the rhetoric where everybody's just, talking, to a point where you actually implement some of these suggestions that also come from these discussions that you've also mentioned, because that would also mean that people are safer on the road?
Yes, absolutely. And that's what we are doing. Like when we kicked off the campaign, we did actually real vehicle inspections on the ranks. Even now, I'm coming from one of the long distance facilities. I was there until 9 o'clock. So we are doing physical inspections, looking at the conditions of the vehicles. And also prior to the launch, we have a partnership with ABSA and Sifao Mobility, where we have been testing our drivers, their eyesight and blood pressure. In 3 days, we've handled over 300 drivers whom ABSA will provide spectacles, because we have been able to identify that they've got challenges with eyesight. So that's one of the things that we practically do to ensure that we also look at the safety of our drivers, their health conditions, so that we ensure that they are also fit for the job that we expect them to do. So we are taking a holistic view, and this is not going to be a once-off thing. It's going to be happening almost every month from next year. We will be visiting various taxi ranks, checking on driver fitness as well as the fitness of our vehicles.
And let's speak about your part in ensuring that we also, deal with road carnage effectively. Where do passengers perhaps maybe get a hold of your organization to report bad driving, perhaps, so you're also able to deal with it?
Yes, what we have been encouraging our customers to do, first of all, we've spoken to the operators to ensure that each vehicle is properly identifiable. There is a telephone number and the details of the owner of the vehicle. And we have also distributed pamphlets with the QR codes. Those QR codes have our details as SANTACO. So passengers are able to scan the QR code and they get our details, and then they are able to report incidences directly to us. Or alternatively, they can use the details that are on the doors of each of our vehicles that are doing long distance trips during this time.
Right. Mandla Hermanus is the SANTACO Western Cape Chairperson. Thanks very much indeed for your time on the program.